In today's video, you may have been bounced by this gentleman at a Fred event. We called him Mr. MC more than a decade ago. He's one of the more high-energy Franklinites we have on staff. So if this sounds interesting, you definitely need to watch this video. This is Dan, and welcome back to Let's Meet a Franklinite. Today we have Aron Jarr, Senior
Hello.
Director of Business Development for the West.
Yes.
How are you doing today?
I'm great.
Awesome.
Every day.
I know you are. Your glass is 90% full.
Right.
Type of guy. Let's say you did something and someone said to you, boy, that was a real Aron Jarr thing to do.
Yeah.
Well, do you have an example story of something like that?
I probably do. There's usually probably a swear word either before or after it. But the ones that I can probably say here, a couple come to mind, but I think the one where I think I probably really broke out was during our first Fred event at the ASP National Conference.
Yeah.
And this is, I don't
So
know what,
6 years ago,
6 or
maybe?
7 years
Yeah.
ago. And we kind of came up with the concept, and then my background, is throwing great parties and making sure that people are taken care of.
Yep.
And so I kind of wanted the full experience of going backstage and going to see a band and everything else. So we put up these stanchions, and if you would believe this, I have quite a collection of Halloween costumes. So I had these rolled up kind of tattoo sleeves.
I believe it.
And I put on dark sunglasses, and I had this really bright flashlight. And we had these invitations, and customers, clients, partners would come to this event. And I had stood at the door, and I knew most of them through previous engagement, but I had this bouncer persona where I was actually kind of being a jerk, as most bouncers can be if you're not part of the in club.
Right.
And so look at their invitation and just, ask them kind of ridiculous questions that they would have no idea to answer. And, they say, well, I know Fred Dreyer, you have to let me in. I said, well, if you know Fred, what's his middle name? And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, well, you don't know him that well. And then they'd stand off to the side. We'd let other people in. Really had a great time. And then the funniest part is that the next morning I'm working the trade show booth, and people were coming to me. They're like, weren't you the bouncer at the music thing last night? And I said, well, no, I actually work for Franklin Energy. I was just playing the part of the bouncer. And so it kind of became a thing where people were actually looking forward to talking to the bouncer. I guess that's maybe one of my big claim to fame is an Aron Jarr thing to do.
So you didn't join Franklin right out of college, so
I didn't.
You had another life in between there. You mentioned a little bit about taking care of people.
Yeah.
But what kind of work did you do?
My degree is actually in hospitality and tourism management,
In
which
case
is
you don't believe that.
yeah, just look at one of our proposals when we have all these MBAs and Masters of Engineering, and then myself with tourism and hospitality management. But it actually served me really well. I come, my background, how I paid through school was bartending and waiting on tables. I put a lot of priority on taking care of people and really putting myself into, even if it's just a bartending job, what customer experience is going to be. So I think I bring in that unique perspective. Of course, we always have lots of engineers that can help me out of any technology jams, but for the most part, my degree and experience leading up to Franklin Energy was in the hospitality business.
You worked on a lot of. You actually led our trade ally and outreach group for a while.
Yep.
Now, how long have you been in your current position?
I started in February of 2015, so this will be my 4th year kind of full-time in business development.
And what are you hearing from clients? I mean, you're out there every day talking to clients or prospective clients,
Yep.
utilities, and are you hearing this? What are they needs? What is the hot topics of discussion?
Yeah, so I think in general, I think a lot of utilities are looking for services that can complete a customer journey. They're not necessarily looking necessarily at just one type of transaction and being happy with someone, say, buying an LED lamp, and then that's kind of the end of their journey. So they're definitely becoming more sophisticated as it relates to what they want their customers to be and how the utility can actually serve the customer more transactions and more support. I think what I hear from most of the utility clients that I have interaction with is, as Franklin has grown, and it certainly has been, a crazy and wild journey. I'm celebrating my 12th anniversary next year.
What employee number were you?
I was 42.
42.
42. Okay. And I keep saying that to a lot of the utility people that I'm interacting with. It's like, to be with an organization that long and to see this type of growth, it's really been exciting. There's lots of changes with that, obviously, but I think, the utilities that we talk to, I think they've been really impressed with our growth and where we've grown and where we've, hopefully been ahead of the trend that where the space is going, and specifically kind of like our software capabilities now. They see that as the layering onto the implementation services that we do. They want to be in the same breath as, doing how customers do business with their bank or how they do it with online retail. That they want to make it simple, they want to make it easy to engage with their customers and not just think of the utility as the monthly bill that comes every month, that there's more opportunity to engage, more opportunity, quite frankly, for business development when you start looking at EV, electric vehicles and charging stations and online marketplaces, is that trend is starting to come more and more.
Well, you're obviously very busy with work. You must have some time to do some fun. I know you've got young family.
Tons of time, Dan. Yes. Yeah.
You have any kind of activities for people to learn more about this Franklinite here?
Yes.
What do you do off hours?
Well, so I am a father of 14-year-old twin daughters.
Oh.
So this is their first year in high school. So
Awesome.
I'm really actually enjoying being a high school dad, and they go to the same high school that I went to. So enjoying, they're very active in sports and theater, and so there's always some sort of activities, and our house has kind of become the hub of where people hang out, which I love. So we're very active with that. I love being outdoors. I love water skiing. We live on an inland lake, so we spend a lot of time on the water. Snow skiing as well. My youngest daughter got into horseback riding.
Oh my.
Which is a whole new world, and one I don't totally understand, but it brings great joy to my youngest and my wife, and so all of the accessories that come with that, which also include a travel trailer. So we took a 2-week trip out to Yellowstone and Glacier.
Oh man.
And if anyone's watching, if you don't have the opportunity, you should definitely go see our national parks. It's unbelievable.
Awesome.
That's what we do.
So one more question, coming back to business a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We're quickly coming upon 2020, so we're going to be in the roaring 20s. You talk to a lot of clients, you're selling a lot of our services, you see how we're growing, and there's thing about lighting standards that I think we're effectively calling that a hill, and we're pushing that off so people can continue those.
Yep.
But there's next gen type programs that will be coming. Are you optimistic about the roaring 20s for Franklin Energy?
Mm-hmm.
And any insight to maybe what that might look like, what we might be doing that we're not doing today?
Man, insight. Yeah, I just attended a conference, and I think, I am optimistic. I think that the model will certainly change, and how we do things and how we service our utility clients will change. Mm-hmm. I think the big one, and I think as we kind of look at the mix of energy that's being used, across the country, the value of a KWH or a therm given a certain period of time where it's beneficial to the utility is probably the biggest shift that I see. And really, when you start looking at cost effectiveness and you start looking at some of the other maybe traditional ways of how we've calculated energy savings and where the value is to the utility, that may change a little bit. And that's the part that's exciting, and I think that's the part where Franklin has really kind of pushed some of the innovation and the things that we're talking about our utilities.
Because it sounds like what you're saying is that a kilowatt hour saved at a particular point in time is worth more than just a kilowatt hour saved all year.
Exactly.
Which is really the demand response element. Mm-hmm. And incorporating demand response energy efficiency to what we're really promoting is grid optimization. Well, this is great to catch up, Aaron.
Yeah, this is the most we've chatted in a while, Dan. This
We're in
is
the
nice.
same office, and it takes a talk show
Yes.
to get together to catch up. But
Yeah,
this
no,
was
it's
great to
great.
remanis.
Yes.
All
No,
right.
it was nice chatting with you.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.